So you just saw what happened. I'm telling you, this is without a doubt probably one of the better races. I forgot just how good this race was, especially those last probably 15 laps was
Hmm.
just insane.
With those 5 drivers going at it. I mean, it was like back and forth 3 wide, and then Harvick was able to pull it out of, all of them, but still,
It was
that was
literally,
awesome.
I mean, and because it's been so long since I've watched it, I was getting excited watching. Like I already know what the outcome's going to be, but at the
Right.
same time, because I couldn't remember what happened to Jerry Nadeau,
Mhm.
and I couldn't remember if Junior got in the top 5 or not.
Yep.
But I'm telling you, without a doubt, you've got to go back and watch this race. This race was absolutely incredible. What I'm talking about is the 2001 Cracker Barrel 500.
Mhm.
One of the most famous scenes in NASCAR. They still show it on replays all the time. One of the closest one of the closest finishes in NASCAR history, but pulling it off in his third ever Cup Series start, Kevin Harvick in Dale Earnhardt's car takes it to victory lane. But that is just a fraction of the story.
Yeah, there was so many things, like, I guess so many emotions going into this race with Harvick, taking over this car, and Harvick was actually he had a great run in the 29, especially this race, but,
Mhm.
yeah, there were so many things going into that, and even you could see the 3 on the side of the car. There
Mhm.
was, pre-race, there was all kinds of Dale Earnhardt stuff, and on the cars, they had the 3 on the dash inside the car, but, yeah, there was a lot of
Not only that, but my goodness, the wild cards in this thing, and
yeah.
you know, everybody remembers the race to the line between Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick,
Mhm.
but very few remember Jeff Gordon spent the majority of that race a lap down.
Mhm. Yeah, and not only that, but some of the guys like Jerry Nadeau, he was really looked like the guy to win the race if it
Mhm.
weren't for Harvick and Gordon. Like, he was up there. Dave Blaney was up there. I
Dave
look,
Blaney, I don't care what anybody says, would have been the winner. Dave Blaney would have won that race, and we'll be talking about a little bit about that situation. But Dave Blaney, I I don't know. You may disagree, but Dave Blaney would have won. I'm telling you, he would have won that race.
that I mean, yeah, but for me, I feel like Jerry Nate, and I'd have to go back and watch a little more of it. But Jerry Nadeau I was just shocked at how consistent he was in
Hmm.
the top 5. Like, he was always there throughout the day, and I had no clue that he even had that good of a run in this race either. So.
Lots of problems for teams. Joe Gibbs with Bobby Labonte at one point. Bobby Labonte went down to 7 cylinders, and he just never could. At one point, he's even throwing smoke out of the vehicle. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated ended up having just a complete meltdown of a day with all their drivers. But again, the man of the hour, coolest circumstances that you could find, Kevin Harvick and his first win. And we've got to do it. I've been waiting to do it. I'm excited to be able to say it. But we're talking about Kevin Harvick's, not only his rookie season, but his first ever win. One of my favorite diecast cars. I love this car. This is not the raced version. However, I got this off of auction, motorsportauctions.com, Circle B diecast, hashtag.
Not sponsored yet.
However, so I told you, they saw some of our videos and they got a kick out of how we're not sponsored, and they reached out on the comments and told us to let's change that. So I actually got to speak with the people at Circle B Diecast, and we're actually kind of working on some stuff. So I'm actually excited to team with them. Not really sure what direction we're going, not sure how that's going to work out. Okay, just like this was Harvick's rookie season, okay, on the whole content creation thing, just giving you guys a little inside baseball peek behind the curtain. I'm a rookie at all that as well. So I am super, super pumped. And let me go ahead and just give them their first plug, even though it's still hashtag not sponsored,
Mhm.
but they do know we exist.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
We've talked to 'em.
but uh, they do their auctions. They're on the Whatnot app. Okay, you can follow them on Instagram. You can follow them on YouTube. You can follow their website. You can go to planbsales.com, but most specifically motorsportauctions.com, and they have some of the. I mean, again, from yesterday, today. Now their auctions are absolutely incredible. Their customer service has been great. And I'm telling you guys, no, I'm not sponsored by them. This is just me plugging them because they're super cool. Jonathan, the guy that runs their whatnot app, super cool dude. He got me in touch with Brent, the owner, and I'm just telling you, these guys, even before I got in talks with them, their customer service was just really, really good to me. On a Actually, it was a Christmas present I was trying to get for you, and they got the shipping wrong and stuff like that. It wasn't no big deal, but they were doing everything they could to make it right. So, um, but anyway, without further ado, let's get into this race. Let's get into Harvick's thing. And Harvick was actually pretty quiet throughout the race, really.
He was. I mean, he's consistent, I would say, definitely throughout the top 10 and even the top 5, but like he turned it on those last few laps
Hmm.
with him and Jeff Gordon. I mean, those especially I'd probably say the last 2 laps. I mean, he
But
was
throughout the
he
race, though, you didn't really see much of him. He was consistent all day. He was in the
Mhm.
top 10 all day long.
Right, yeah. But yeah, I mean, he was definitely fast, but not a guy to say, all right, this guy he definitely is on my list to win.
Hmm. Well, we all know he was definitely not Darrell Waltrip's
Nope.
pick to win. Darrell Waltrip was adamant it was Bobby Labonte.
Mhm. And he
Uh,
was so disappointed when that cylinder went out.
he said, all I can do is call the races.
Mhm.
He said, I can't help it if they have a cylinder go down.
Yeah.
Uh, I've said it before on this show, but listening to the commentary of these races from the early 2000s was just, I mean, whether it be on Fox or whether it be on NBC, they were all great. And, a lot of people have kind of given Dale Waltrip a hard time. A lot of people actually say they couldn't stand him on the commentary. But I mean,
Mhm.
especially going back and watching this race, he was so funny.
He just make it his like, he would get really loud 1 second. He would be like, "Oh," or Larry McReynolds. I've always
Hmm.
loved listening to
Oh, I still
Larry
enjoy Larry
McReynolds.
McReynolds.
But his little comments throughout the race was just awesome.
So Jeff Gordon, before the first round of pit stops, I believe it was the first round of pit stops or before, they're going for green flag pit stops. And Jeff Gordon, who was without a doubt the strongest car during this moment, runs out of fuel and he is coasting all the way from the back stretch all the way to pit road, taking the ride of shame. And he wasn't even sure if they was even going to be able to make it all the way around. Luckily he did. But with that, he's going to go a lap down. And quite frankly, if it wouldn't have been for Jerry Nadeau later on in the race, I think he would have stayed a lap down. And so later on in the race, so he spends the majority of the race a lap down. And it comes down after the first round of pit stops. Dave Blaney, he gets up there in the top 5. And you have your typical Dale Jarrett's running up front. Sterling Marlin is running up front. Sterling Marlin had a great year in 2001. Johnny Benson's up there, who also had a great year in
Mhm.
2001. But uh, Dave Blaney, he's coming. And once he takes the lead, he has I won't say he was just dominating, but he had a very, very solid car.
He didn't. He was able to take the lead and just go with it. It
Mhm.
wasn't no, like, a couple car lengths and then he would end up, falling back to the, 3rd place or something, but when he got the lead, he was able to take it away, and yeah, he did have a very fast car, and like I said, I didn't know that Dave Blaney had that good of a race.
Mhm. And well, it's typical because you don't really see, those one of those names you didn't, back when I was watching back in those days, that was a name that really didn't play that big of a factor a lot.
Mhm.
But Dave Blaney, I mean, his career wasn't just NASCAR. I mean, he had so many other racing endeavors and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
With his son Ryan Blaney, he's definitely, I guess all these options that he could have picked, NASCAR was what he chose.
Mhm.
Um, but no, Dave Blaney, his car this day was just absolutely phenomenal,
Yeah.
and he was very competitive. And I really actually enjoyed that car, because they zoomed in on it quite a bit. But that number 93 Amco car was actually really cool. Circle B, if y'all can find one of those for me, that'd be awesome.
Mhm.
But that Amco car was actually really cool.
It was, and like I said, I'd never paid it that much attention
Hmm.
to Dave Blaney, but, yeah, I mean, seeing one of those cars, there's certain cars that stand out to you, and I would agree too that Dave Blaney's '93 car was pretty cool on the
Did Robert
racetrack.
Presley's number 77 car stand out to you any?
I mean, just besides seeing that primary, that was That's all that ever stands out to me.
Speaking of 77s, now the 77 car is now the holder of victory lane
Yeah,
after this week in Talladega. Fast forward 2026.
that yeah, I mean, good job to him, I guess. I'm not a host of fan, so I'm not
I just get tired because they do the constant comparison to Dale Earnhardt and his celebration, which I will say was a pretty cool celebration.
I
He
don't
was hanging out of the
I don't
car.
know if you've seen him when he parked it on the start finish line when he hit the wall.
Yes.
I mean, he's
I
slick
mean, now, and of course, you never want nobody to get hurt, but if he would have like jolted forward, but
he
but
man.
everybody's comparing it to when Earnhardt climbed out of the window and cleaned
Yeah.
his, or climbed out of his side window to clean his one. And granted, I mean, but
Mm,
why? I wish they didn't do the constant comparisons with drivers. I mean, let drivers be drivers.
mhm,
Let them be who they are.
yeah.
Now, I think Carson Hocevar kind of feeds that a little bit,
I
but
think I mean, yeah, he definitely wants I mean, everybody's saying, "Well, he's like the Dale Earnhardt of today," and, I mean, he'll definitely wreck you for the win. I mean, we've seen that a few times,
mhm.
but, I mean, he's
Well,
not
he wrecked Eric Jones,
Carson Hocevar.
which is kind of funny because a lot of people back here were saying, well, Kevin Harvick, they kept calling him that year because Kevin Harvick. Now, the first 6 months of 2001, he was actually pretty quiet, pretty humble, and he kind of amped up a little bit about halfway through the year. But everybody kept saying, he thinks he's Dale Earnhardt, and
Yeah,
I wish I could remember who it was. Part of me, and I think it was Bobby Hamilton. It was the week before Talladega in 2001, but which would have been at Martinsville, I believe, Martinsville or Dover. Anywho, they get into each other and things like that, and he says, you got this kid who wants to be Dale Earnhardt, and he thinks he's Dale Earnhardt, and he couldn't lace up Dale Earnhardt shoes or something like that, but. It's just my whole thing is just let drivers be drivers. Let
yeah,
them be, let Carson Hocevar be Carson Hocevar. Let
mhm,
Kevin Harvick be Kevin Harvick.
yeah,
Let them define who they are. But either way, I think Kevin Harvick's year in 2001 was definitely a milestone year, but it all started here at Atlanta. That's when everybody knew this kid, which is so crazy calling Kevin Harvick a kid, but this kid has got what it takes. So throughout the race, he is going to stay up front. He's going to stay consistent. And then about halfway through the race, your leader, I keep wanting to say dominant, so I keep pausing. He wasn't dominant, but he was really, really good. But Dave Blaney, out of nowhere, has a good pit stop. And then right before the next round of pit stops kick in, all of a sudden he's in trouble.
and that was, like, the most sickenest feeling ever because you have the race pretty much in he's setting up for a good finish, if not to win the race, and then something like that happens, and it's like, everything's gone to waste almost. And Darrell Waltrip said he's not out of it yet,
Mm-hmm.
he's still in it, but it just the race went to
Well, when he took that pit stop, because the tire came off,
right, yeah.
and he said, Darrell Waltrip said, "Oh, he's got a fast car. He can still get back in this
Mhm.
thing." Um, but as they're sitting there struggling and everything, Darrell, he chimes his, "You picked a fine time to leave me loose, will." And I don't know why people didn't like it. I'm telling you, it was fun. It was cool. It was enjoyable.
Well, because
Um,
he ended in by a song.
one thing I remember when they come out with Kevin Harvick's ride. Now, the only reason why they got the 29 was that was the first number available. They said Richard Childress has said in many interviews, they went with the 29 because that was literally the first number available, so they just went with that.
Mhm.
But then, as time marches on, people either tend to forget, and I'm not saying that anybody forgot anybody. That's, don't quote me on that. But a lot of people tend to go back on what they originally said. So they wanted everything with Kevin Harvick's car to be the exact opposite of Dale Earnhardt's.
Mhm.
And they had said, because at the time, which I think you can't even do it now, especially with the charter system, but they could not retire the number 3. It was in NASCAR's policy, you can't retire numbers. Like, in the NBA and other sports, you can retire people's
Mhm.
numbers.
Yeah.
But NASCAR did not allow number retiring. Everybody wanted it. Everybody either said Dale Jr. should get it or we should retire it. And NASCAR couldn't retire it. It was against their rules, which fast forward 25, 26 years later, NASCAR loves changing rules by the week, so I don't know why it would have been any different then. But
Well, I mean, look at the sport now.
exactly, I mean, every week you got a different. Which even back then, I mean, good night, they were constantly, changing rules. One week, the Hans device is required, and the next week it's not. Which, as Mike Joy famously put it in this race, the hands device. The hands device. It was
Take out the
new.
hands device.
It was new. But everybody. So he said. So Richard Childress said, okay. He said, uh, the number 3 car or the GM Goodwrench car will never be black. It will, might have special paint schemes here and there, but it will never be black. Well, in 2002, this car became a silver and black car.
Mm-hmm.
Great looking car, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying. They said the number 3 car will never be on a black car. Well, fast forward X amount of years later, Austin Dillon's car is primarily black. So, and again, I mean, as time goes on, wounds heal and stuff like that. I'm just saying, what they wanted to do, it didn't stick. But this paint scheme has always stood out to me, and I love what they did with it being that first year. They went out of their way to make sure that this GM Goodwrench car was the polar opposite of Dale Earnhardt's car, and they couldn't have done a better job.
I always loved his white paint scheme, Kevin Harvick's white paint scheme. That was like having the white and the red on it. Like I said, it's completely different than Earnhardt's paint scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah, that car always stood out, and it was a cool looking paint scheme. Now the black and silver one, that was always pretty cool, but I almost would like the white one better in my opinion.
And I do too, and I think maybe I'm biased because, and that's why maybe I give it a hard time with him going to that black and silver car and stuff like that, is because I was so biased towards this car because I thought this was just a super cool paint scheme, super cool car. So I'm probably a little hard on it. So when I think of that black and silver car, I think of Kevin Harvick and Ricky Rudd. I can't remember if it was at Charlotte or if it was at Richmond. But Kevin Harvick climbs over.
Was it Richmond?
Was it at Richmond?
Yep.
He climbs over Ricky Rudd's car. They're arguing and stuff. But then this car, I always think of Atlanta. And I actually, a lot of times I think of Rockingham. There's a scene in Rockingham the week after Dale Earnhardt died where they're putting this car, taking it off the hauler, lowering it down, and it's this car, and it was like epic. And it's a really cool video clip. But one of the things that always stuck out to me with this car was Atlanta. Now, Jerry Nadeau is going to take the lead after Dave Blaney. And back then, NASCAR had a rule where I say NASCAR had a rule. So yeah, you don't get your lap back. They would race back to the yellow.
Yeah.
But for safety reasons, and understandably so, for safety reasons, which it was actually Ward Burton hitting one of his pit crew members that created one. That was one of the reasons for that creation. But so you don't have the free pass, and then basically you start on the inside line after every restart.
Yeah.
Well, back then it was just this underlying code with the drivers. If you had some alliances out there, and definitely if you had teammates, you slow down as you're coming to the start finish line to let your teammate, or if you, like I said, if you have some allies out there that you're wanting to help out, you slow down and you let them pass to get their lap back.
Yeah.
And if it wouldn't have been for Jerry Nadeau, he was a Hendrick driver, that number 25 U8W Delphi Chevrolet. And I'm telling you,
that was good.
Thank you. I'm telling you, I would have been a Michael Waltrip.
You would have. I mean, that you fit in perfectly.
But Jerry Nadeau in his car, he slows down dramatically because they get a caution. Jeff Gordon gets his lap back, and I mean, Nadeau literally comes almost to a complete stop.
He is sliding.
I mean, if Gordon would have had some people on his tail, Nadeau would have completely lost the lead. But that right there is what got Gordon back in this race. If that wouldn't have happened, Gordon, I believe, probably would have finished the lap down. And we wouldn't, if it would have been, so Jerry Nadeau forged history. Think about that. Jerry Nadeau created that epic finish between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon.
And they need to start putting it, if people watch the race, they need to start putting that on when they talk about Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon, how close to the finish they had.
Yeah, this would have never happened had it not been for Jerry Nadeau. So if Jerry Nadeau for some reason ever picks up on watch Speedway nostalgia, NASCAR, no, I take that back. Jeff Gordon, no, I take that back. Hendrick, no, I take that back. History owes you a thank you.
Mhm.
So, but back to Kevin Harvick. So they're racing, and Jeff Gordon, after that next pit stop, he is flying through the field.
Yeah, there wasn't no slowing him down. Like his car was so fast, but it was Jeff Gordon once again.
I want to say on the restart after he got his lap back, I want to say he was in 25th, and he moved up to 15th in just a couple laps.
Mhm.
He was flying. Jeff Gordon had the fastest car. I will say this about Kevin Harvick. He did not have the fastest car, and he did not have the best car in this race. He didn't have the second best car or the third best car. That's just to show you how awesome Atlanta was.
Mhm.
And that's just to show you just how good of a driver Kevin Harvick was. And that's just to show you how unpredictable NASCAR can be.
Mhm. Back then.
Yeah. And I mean, to an extent, I'll even give them some credit because they're trying to make some changes.
Right.
But back
Especially
then,
then, I mean, you
oh
can
man, it was so
history of that.
unpredictable. And now you're going to get to the last, I'm going to say the last 15 laps is when it came very unpredictable. And people started coming out of the woodwork to include Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Out of nowhere. I think watching the race and then when I seen him start coming back, I thought Junior was done for the day, basically. And then out of nowhere, Darrell Waltrip said it like he's up here contending for it for him fourth.
Well, and again, so Joe Gibbs Racing, they're out.
Mhm. Yeah.
So they're, and then my goodness, Roush Racing, the Roush cars, Mark Martin blows an engine.
Oh yeah.
Matt Kenseth, he blows an engine and looks like John Force going down.
Thing was lit
Yes,
up.
it was insane.
And that's when what's his name? Mike Joy as he takes off the hands device.
Yeah. And then Darrell Waltrip,
Yep.
because they were really pushing to get that Hans device mandatory. And he says, see how quick he's able to get out of the car, because the drivers were saying they felt like they couldn't get out of the car quick enough with that on. And Matt Kenseth, which I mean, when you go 190 miles an hour and then your car catches fire, you're going to figure out a way to get out of there pretty quick.
Oh yeah. I mean, smoke in there and everything. He wasn't messing around for sure.
So all these cars are losing their engines, and then DEI, Michael Waltrip, he starts having car trouble early in the race. Steve Clark blows an engine. He's out of the race early. Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's the last man standing for DEI. So now we're 10 laps to go. Jerry Nadeau's got a strong lead. Right behind him, you have Dale Jarrett. Right behind him, you have Kevin Harvick. Right behind him, you have Dale Earnhardt Jr. And then right behind him, you have Jeff Gordon. And there for a little bit, you even had Sergio Marlin kind of hanging out there until he started falling back.
Yeah, he just wasn't able to keep up with those guys.
But in the midst of all this, these guys, I mean, at one point, I thought I would have not been surprised there for a second if they would have went 5 wide.
Well, they almost did. Like I know they went 3 wide for sure several times.
Well, to take the lead when Kevin Harvick took the lead.
Yeah, but man, that was such an incredible last 10 laps. I mean, those guys. It was like playtime's over. Like they were all going for it.
That was one of those races I could go back, especially that last 40 laps. I could go back and watch that 3 or 4 times. I mean, it was insane. And they were just perfectly insane just watching them. I mean, every move they were so tactical, and they were racing clean. I mean, that right there, go back, and if you do anything, go back and watch the last 15 races of the 2001 Cracker Barrel 500. That was peak racing the way it should be done. And so in the midst of all this, Dale Jr., who actually was pushing for second a couple times in this, blows a tire. Right front tire starts going down.
And that was it for Junior.
And his day's over. Well, that gives Jeff Gordon an opportunity to sneak in there. He starts battling with Kevin Harvick for just a split second. Kevin Harvick, he finally takes the lead. It was the 3 wide. Dale Jr. was still in it when Kevin Harvick took the lead. It was Dale Jarrett. He starts creeping in on Dale Jarrett, and he passes him pretty quickly. And then Jerry Nadeau is slowly losing pace, but just enough to where he was still competitive right there. And in fact, Darrell Waltrip said on there, because Jerry Nadeau was starting to fall back pretty good, and Jeff Gordon got on him and started trying to push him. And Darrell Waltrip said, now Jerry Nadeau owes Jerry Nadeau a favor so he could get behind Nadeau and push him to the lead. Didn't
Nope.
happen.
He went right to the inside of him.
And he took him, and then that's when that last lap battle was on, and it was really not a true battle until they were entering turn 3 and 4.
Well, yeah, well, it looked like Harvick was good,
Yeah.
and then a couple of those lap cars went away, and you could watch him saying that.
But I'm telling you, they got down.
They did, and Gordon, I mean, he was flying on
Mhm.
the inside.
Part of me wonders if Jeff Gordon maybe had to let up a couple times because he didn't know if those cars would have got down out of the way.
I mean, luckily they did, but
Um, but
flying
then
on the inside.
and then as you say, he's passing him, and if that start finish line would have been about 50 feet further,
Oh, Gordon would have had
it
it.
would have been a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So again, Kevin Harvick, I mean, he had the skill to drive that car. He was an amazing race car driver, but Jeff Gordon, he just needed another 50 feet. That was one of those situations where Gordon didn't lose the race. He just ran out of laps.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, one more lap. I mean, I don't know for sure, but Gordon was definitely looking to win it. But like you said, he was there at the right time.
well, I'm telling you, this was peak NASCAR, and that wrote the book on what racing should have been like every week.
Mm-hmm.
When those 5 guys were battling it out. It was absolutely incredible. As incredible as that last lap was, that last 15 laps, especially the last 10, was epic.
Oh yeah, like those 5 guys. It came down to those 5 guys, and well, who they would get single file, and then they'd be back 3 wide again. Then they get single. Like it was so they were racing so clean, but it was so aggressive, and that's what was so neat about it.
Well, where does Kevin Harvick rank on your Richter scale? Would you consider him? If you would have been growing up in the early 2000s, would he have been one of your favorites?
I don't really know. Harvick, like you said, he was a great driver, but I'd have to do a little more studying on him. I never really knew because I mean I knew about Harvick in the 29 and stuff, but he just I don't know. Besides watching this race, I never really seen a lot of, I guess, thunder from Harvick.
I liked him. He was definitely in my. I used to say he's in my top 5, probably more in my top 10. But just because I don't know, I had too many people that I like. Back then, it was just Dale Jr. always ranked at the top. But one thing that's going to rank at the top on this one is Kevin Harvick is going to land the plane for us here. But so, but went a little over on time on this one. We enjoyed talking about it, and like I said, the emotion behind this race. I mean, it was the first time, and seeing Chocolate Myers jump off that pit box and tears in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate Myers was, I mean, he had been with Dale Earnhardt since the early days of Childress, and everybody kept, this is for Dale, and here we are, 26 years later, 25 years later, and we're still talking about how much Dale Earnhardt meant to the sport, and we're still talking about how incredible these first few races was. A little quick fact is this was the 4th race of the season, and Chevy won every race, those first 4 races. So
yeah, they were on fire.
Little quick fact for you. Did you enjoy the episode? Thank you again, Circle B Diecast, for working with us and maybe getting some stuff going here in the near future. What did you think of Kevin Harvick? Was he one of your favorites? Did you enjoy him? Did you think he was a punk, or did you think he was pretty cool? Did you think he was the Dale Earnhardt of 2001 like everybody else said he was trying to be? Other than that, I'm looking forward to the next one. But until then, you be good.
You be better.
And you be best. And we'll catch you on the next one on Speedway Nostalgia. See you then.